Travon Free and Martin Desmond Rowe are nominated at the Oscars for directing one of the best live action short films. Now, why did you call it Two Distant Strangers?
We actually chose that title because our song, one of the main kind of threaded song in the movie is the Bruce Hornsby's "That's Just the Way It Is," and I chose that song because of the fact that those lyrics, although they were written in 1985, are still relevant today. And I wanted to connect how long we've been having a lot of these discussions. I was born in 1985, and that song was also sampled by a lot of people, Tupac included, in his song Changes. There's a line that Martin discovered when we were trying to figure out a title to connect the two, generations in the two songs. And Tupac has a line in the song that says, "You learn to see me as a brother instead of two distant strangers." And that was kind of what we wanted the movie to feel like thematically, is it being about connection and understanding, and not simply what you judge a person by when you don't know them.
And Travon, you wrote this film, so tell me about bringing Martin on board as a co-director.
Yeah, so I mean, Martin and I were already working together on another film that we're still working on. And so when I got the idea, knowing his background with shorts and everything, it just seemed like a natural thing to bring to him for us to try to do together, since we were already trying to do something together anyway. And so it just seemed like a quick way for us to jump into working together in like every aspect of filmmaking in a year where we were kind of sitting around not really doing much and just kind of wanting to be back working and making things. And so this was an opportunity for us to do something that we could get done fairly quickly, but also see the process all the way through.
And this was actually your directorial debut. So Martin, what can you tell us about Travon as a director?
He's ruthless. He's cruel. He's demanding. Michael Mann has got nothing on Travon. No, it was it was a delight and an honor. Like, this film sprang directly from his soul. Like when we started talking about me doing this, it was clear super quickly. I'm like, I'd love to be part of this. I'd love to help. I'd love to give my skills and what I understand to this. But it has to. My job here was to, make sure that his vision and his soul was presented as well as possible, and presented as closely. And it's testament to what he wrote. I'd say it's like 90% what he wrote on that first draft is what we ended up filming. And there's a lot of technical stuff that goes with directing that you pick up over time, but vision, for sort of the fundamental requirement. This is what I want to communicate cinematically to an audience. Travon came fully loaded with. He's directed one film and been nominated for an Oscar. So I think he's probably got a career in this if he sticks with it. Yeah.
Martin, you've been through this process before of getting to the Oscars. What can you tell me about how things have changed over the years, and also how that helped your career?
Sure. Yes, I wrote and produced a short film in 2012 or 2013 called Buzkashi Boys that was set in Kabul, Afghanistan, and we were nominated. And it was a very fun process. What's changed is, what's one thing that's the same is that I'm very proud of the short film community and the short film world. And I love the films that are fellow nominees this time and last time. It's such an interesting film around the world, and such a variety of viewpoints. It's a wonderful collective. What's changed, I suppose, is the scale of attention on this category. I feel like as the world continues to get small, it felt very much more like an outlier category when we did it before. I used to joke, it's like, if you want the most exciting and sort of confusing thing in the world, get nominated for an Oscar for a short film. Because when you introduce yourself to people, they're like, wait, what? They make Oscars for that? That was back when I did it sort of like 10 years ago. Whereas now it's not been that at all. Like, it's the quality of filmmaking was always good, but the understanding, sorry, I'm not sure the understanding of what it takes. All of the films are so well made, and the whole category is so impressive, that I think, what's changed is the sort of how much people know about it. I think really. Also, like I know that Shorts TV, they've done their, not this year, probably the last year, they had like 3 million people go and see it, go and see the Shorts programs in cinemas. You know, so it's really become, it's very like a very strong cultural force around around the Shorts world in the intervening time, which is really impressive to see.
Travon, you were on Jimmy Kimmel recently. I think maybe the first 3 minutes of that was you talking about your shoes, and then the next 4 minutes were him just making fun of you for having made a movie that nobody could see. But
Right.
people actually are going to be able to see it soon on Netflix. So, what can you tell me about that journey of getting acquired by Netflix?
Yeah, I mean, we made this movie, with our own money and people who were willing to give us money, and never knowing, that anybody would ever come along and distribute the film. We wanted solely to make a movie that, meant something to people and that people could see. And even if that meant personal cost to me, which, at on some level it was, the getting the story out was the most important thing. And so, having, um, Netflix come along and, tell us how important they thought our story was, and how they thought it was important for more people to, to see this story. It's a very timely story. It's a very important story. And, I mean, we're talking about something that, a subject matter that is on trial right now. Derek Chauvin's on trial right now for the same type of thing that our film, talks about. And it does it in a way that changes the conversation that we've been having around the issues. And there's no better way to further that conversation than for the most people possible to be exposed to the film and be able to see the film. And so I think Netflix understood that, and they have been a great partner in helping us, further the conversation and the narrative around our film and getting it in front of the most people possible. And I'm so grateful for that, because this is a message that's so important to me and near and dear to my heart. Because, as a Black man from Compton, I've experienced and seen a tremendous amount of death and gun violence. I've had a police officer's gun in my face. I've stared down the barrel of a police gun, and that's not something that everyone does or should have to experience. But, all that culminates in this film, and the things that make this film. And I couldn't have been happier that we get to share it with the world on a platform where 200 million people have the chance to experience that with us.
I looked up the trailer for the film on YouTube. Then I scrolled down to the comments, which is always a mistake. But a lot of people are saying, like I've had enough of seeing films about Black trauma
Mhm.
uh, and oppression. What do you say to that criticism and people who say it?
I think for one, I think people are judging a movie they haven't seen yet, for starters. I think when people see the movie, which has happened since we've put the movie out for people to, or shown people the movie, they understand, what it actually is and what it's actually saying. And I think, um, because of how our movie is made and what is actually, what actually takes place in the film, there's a lot we can't put in a trailer for a 30-minute short film. And you can't make a 3-minute trailer for a film like our movie. And there's just so much you have to keep concealed for the experience of watching the movie. But at the same time, movies and TV shows that are about trauma are not the same as something that's centered in trauma. And our movie is not centered in trauma. Our movie takes a traumatic experience and tells a story of hope and resilience. And that's much different than just making a film that doesn't center the victim, that is centered around the oppressor, that is centered around the victimizer, and just relishes in the trauma that the victim is experiencing. And that is not at all our movie. And I think when people see it, they'll understand that. And I think a lot of people, I mean, you look at the people who've seen our movie and who've spoken out about our movie, from Norman Lear to Bong Joon-ho, and it's people who understand what we did, and when people see it, I think they'll understand.
Your main character, Carter, is a cartoonist. Why that occupation for him?
I wanted Carter to be as neutral and nerdy as I feel and am most of the time. I wanted him to have an artistic profession that, you know, was nothing like the people we encounter when we encounter these stories, and the people who when someone is killed by the police, the first thing they do is dig up their employment history and their police record and all the things that they want to use to try to make you believe, well, there was some reason why this should have happened to this person. And for Carter, you know, he represents all the people who basically prove that no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter how pure of heart, no matter how innocent, no matter how far removed from any criminal element you are, this can find you, and it will find you, and it has found us in ways, and that's kind of what he represents. And so that's why I chose such a like kind of geeky neutral profession in that way.
Now, this is a time loop story. I'm wondering what you discovered as you were directing the same things over and over and over again.
It was very difficult to watch the very difficult things over and over again. They didn't lose their impact; they grew in scale. You know, it's when you're asking Joey Badass, our actor, to go through those moments over and over again. They didn't. I felt maybe you might get desensitized to them. It was also interesting because we were directing them. We shot. It was important that it take place in New York, where marijuana still or is still illegal, or is it about to not be illegal. I feel like I read that on Twitter yesterday. So we shot in downtown LA. So we had a sort of audience wherever we were filming. You know, so there's just sort of a lot of people that were around and stuff. And so we would do these deaths over and over again, and there'd be people watching, and that very much kept it difficult. The other thing I learned is that it's a very good way to make a day from a filming point of view, because you can shoot more pages in this format than you can in any other format, because there's a lot of, thank the Lord, there was a lot of time saving in the fact that, you know, we have the wake up shot, I think, is maybe 28 times or something that we use it in the movie. So that was, you know, there's a lot of economy there. So it was good.
Now, the movie ends a certain way. It ends with a line that I actually expected to come much earlier in the film. I'm wondering, was this always the ending that you envisioned, or did you kind of play around with different versions of it?
I know which line you're talking about, and yeah, it was always intended to end on that note, because it's the moment where he has the most power that he's had in the entire film, and where he's finally understands what's going on and is determined, like we feel in real life, to find a solution to police brutality, to police violence. And once he realizes, you know, there are people that exist, like the officers who killed Elijah McClain and then took a selfie where they killed him. Once you understand that those people exist, and that you are fighting against something that is always seemingly like a hopeless losing battle, you understand that you have to have a certain level of resolve and strength in order to combat that type of evil when you find yourself up against it. And so it's in that moment where not only does he feel empowered and hopeful, it's also where we as an audience feel empowered to, you know, to help him. And by helping him, meaning do something in real life, do something in your life or with your friends that can help save all the Carters in the world. And I think that is the most important aspect of the film.
Finally, what do you two have coming up next?
We're going back to working on the film that we were working on before, which is a romantic comedy about a hunter-gatherer set in Tanzania. So we're in talks right now to sort of make that happen, and then you know, it's also sort of, it's exciting. You know, you asked, I didn't answer it earlier, but you asked how do these moments affect your career, and they're helpful. They're definitely helpful. And so there's a lot of conversations happening, and we'll see where things land. But the one that we're committed to is another passion project that is equally idiosyncratic and special, that hopefully we've now got enough leverage to kind of actually make happen. So we're excited about that.
Thanks very much for taking the time to chat with Gold Derby, and we look forward to seeing that and look forward to these big things ahead for you at the Oscars.
Thank you so much, Riley.
Really
Appreciate the time today.
appreciate
Be
it.
well.